Welcome to our Wednesday meditation gathering. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. Meditation gathers energy when we meditate together. This morning we have Garry Hasler who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. After that, we'll open it up for sharing, and we'll end at 10:45. Over to you, Garry.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much for the invitation to lead this meditation this morning. I'm very grateful, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of you, and grateful for the opportunity to join in mind in a shared purpose. And we do have a shared purpose, and I think it's important to establish that from the outset, that the purpose of this meditation is the healing of our minds. It's the only true purpose that we can really share here in this world, in this stream of separation. The course is very much focused on the transformation of perception, the way that we see, bringing about the transformation of perception to vision, so that rather than seeing with our body's eyes, which only ever see differences and is only based upon judgment, we are learning to see everything and everyone as the same, and to see that we do have a shared interest and that we are fundamentally exactly the same. We have the same need, which is to remember that we are love. We are the love that we have been seeking for. So the calendar lesson for today, if you are following the calendar lessons, is I'm determined to see. And I'd like to do a lesson kind of aligned with that lesson, which is I could see peace instead of this. I'd like to base the meditation upon that, which is lesson 34 in the workbook. So if we just take a moment of silence, just to let go of anything that has happened before we met this morning. Just relax. And we can allow ourselves to become more fully present here and now, and join in a holy instant together. If you'd like to close your eyes. And become aware of your breathing. Become aware of your heart beating. And feel the weight of your body in the chair. Now become aware of your hands. Perhaps one hand is warmer than the other one. Become aware of any sensations you're experiencing within the body. If you'd like to take a deep breath in now and hold it, and now let it go and relax as you do so, releasing any tension in the body as you exhale. And now we'll do the same again. Take a deep breath, hold it, and release and relax. So this is a safe space to allow yourself to feel whatever is going on for you here and now in this moment, without censorship or reservation. There is nothing to fear. God is with us as we enter more and more deeply into the awareness of this present moment experience. And as you continue to breathe, try to become centered in the belly area, in the center of the body, rather than in the head. You can imagine that you're breathing in through the heart area, let the belly expand, and then breathe out through the top of the head. So peace of mind is an internal matter. It must begin with your own thoughts. That's where it begins. And then it extends outward. It is from your peace of mind that a peaceful perception of the world arises. As we keep our eyes closed, search your mind for a fear thought, an anxiety-provoking situation, an offending personality or event, or anything else about which you are harboring unloving thoughts. It might not be anything specific. It might just be a feeling of sadness, anxiety, or worry. Search your mind. simply become aware of the disturbance. And allow yourself to feel it without resisting it. Just invite it in. Feel it deeply. And let's just stay with that feeling now. The feeling of disturbance. Again, we don't have to judge what we're experiencing or interpret it. We're just feeling it. And if you find that you have perhaps drifted off a bit from the focus of the upset, bring it back into view. And again, look at it. And now say to yourself, I am completely responsible for what I see in this situation, or in this person, or this event. I am responsible for what I see in it. And I alone have chosen the feelings and the reactions that I am experiencing right now. And now say to yourself, I must have chosen wrongly because I am not at peace. And tell yourself, I can make a better choice. I can decide otherwise. I am not the victim of the world I see. I can replace my feelings of depression, anxiety, worry, or upset with peace. I choose to see peace instead of this. I choose to see peace instead of this. Peace is my one goal. In connection with this situation or event or person, or any situation or event or relationship, I want the peace of God. So if you'd like to open your eyes now. And would anyone like to share their experience, or does anyone have a question about the lesson?
Jane here. Thank you, Gary. That was wonderful. I had anxiety about my housing situation, and I could feel it in a specific part of my body. I could feel it right in the center. And as you talked about peace and choosing peace, the whole thing settled, and a velvet red blanket started covering me. And I felt so calm. And I thought as well of the lesson that I'm doing at the moment, which we're doing one lesson a week, so it will take us 7 years. But it's the giving and receiving are the same in truth. And I'm involved, our housing situation is involved with other people as well. So I was giving the peace and receiving it to them as well. Yeah, very effective, very powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I can say something. Oh,
sorry, go on, whoever that was.
that was me, Julie Rose. I had many situations came to mind where there may be grievances or conflict or lack of peace, lots of thoughts. And the lesson that kept above all else I want to see. Above all else I want to see. So I found it quite helpful, your meditation. Thank you, Garry.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. It's very clear that it's a decision, isn't it? It's my decision whether I want to see or not, and only I can make that. Of course, the workbook lessons are bringing me to that. They're kind of aiding and assisting me along the way, but ultimately vision is what is going to heal my fractured perception of separation. You know, it's my great need. So above all, I also want to see. Everything else is solved once I can see clearly. Thank you.
Garry, that was really good. When you suggested breathing in through the heart and out through the head, it was wonderful, because I was like I was blowing out smoke through my head like a chimney. And when I focused on what it was that was grieving me, I allowed it to go like a barking dog inside me, like a howling wolf. I really let it go in me. A really good exercise, a really good meditation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted us to become aware of the body, because I think, you know, there can be a tendency for us as Course in Miracles students to keep it on the head level, the mental, conceptual level, and just ignore the body and just say, I'm not the body, I'm free. But you know, that body is part of the experience. And quite often, sensations we experience in the body are connected to what's going on in the mind. So, you know, everything is energy, and you know, it's great to be in touch with that. And you know, everything can be used.
John, do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, thank you, Garry. That was incredibly powerful for me. First of all, I love the calmness of your voice. That was very, very beautiful to witness. And I love these lessons. And when I was focusing on what disturbed my peace, I had an amazing visual image. I don't get so many of those. I'm more of a feeling anyway, one of my things that I've allowed to disturb my peace is the vaccination situation. And suddenly, it was instant. I had a visual of somebody putting the syringe and putting it into my arm, and I could see in the liquid, where the liquid would be, all I could see were these course lessons. You're saying I could choose peace instead of this. I'm never upset for the reason I think, and I saw all these course lessons going into my vein, and I thought, what an amazing message that was. So that really brought that up to the surface, and yeah, it was amazing. Very, very calming and beautiful experience. Thank you. Thank you for your presence.
Thank you, John.
Anyone have a question or comment? Terry?
Hi. Oh,
Oh, sorry. Terry?
so it's
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I echo what John said. You've got a lovely way of speaking and guiding people into the silence, Garry. So well done. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a great lesson, this, and I'm in a situation now that's bringing out kind of all of these learnings for me, you know, how to maintain a sense of integrity and see things through the eyes of love and peace within a family situation. Ram Dass once said that if you think you're enlightened, go spend a weekend with your family and see how you get on. And I can relate to that, I really can. I've got a younger sister, without giving too much away, who is a worrier. And she equates love with worry. And I'll be honest, it does my head in. Now, I own that. I own my feelings. And I do my best to be patient and kind with my younger sister when she plays the role of martyr and trying to guilt trip everybody into worrying about, you know, our mother, who's vulnerable. She is vulnerable. Our dad died last year and our mum's on her own. And we're doing our best to safeguard our mum in the midst of this pandemic. But my way isn't to worry, you know, and I find it very difficult when my younger sister's tactics are to guilt trip and to, you know, drag everybody down, and unless you're awake all night worrying yourself into an early grave, then you're not really loving. And it gets really tiresome when you hear this every day. So I do my best not to buy into this, and I think I do pretty well if I'm fair, and I practice this lesson often. And when I find myself losing it, and I lose it, then I do ask the Holy Spirit, okay, I've lost it. Help me to see this situation through the eyes of love, through the eyes of peace. And it helps enormously, it really does. The other side of the equation, some people equate the Course in Miracles with like Buddhist Vedanta, you know, and one of the criticisms of Buddhism from some people, from some quarters, is that people become too detached from their emotions. And there's a fine line, isn't there, between becoming cold-hearted and detached and remote, or being in a situation with love, but with a modicum of detachment and seeing through the eyes of the Holy Spirit. And that's a lesson and a process that I'm certainly doing my best to embody and to learn. So I appreciate what you said this morning, because it was a timely reminder for me, because something had happened first thing this morning that had kind of tripped all of these feelings and emotions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, of course, we need to remain vigilant in every situation, and be the demonstration of one who has chosen peace, and that's a continuing practice, isn't it? I need to look at myself. If I've lost my peace, or if I've been triggered by someone else, then I need to remember I can choose peace instead of this. I am responsible for how I reacted to the situation, and I can change my mind. So I think it can certainly test us being in that kind of situation with someone who is demonstrating something that isn't peace. And with regard to worry, I watched a film recently that, what's it called, The Bridge of Spies, and this guy asked the main character, "Aren't you worried?" And he replied, "Would it help? Does it help to worry?" It doesn't really help at all, does it? But we can't really teach that directly. It has to be taught through demonstration, through my own demonstration of peace and having accepted peace for myself. So thank you, Terry.
Kirsty, would you like to have a question or a comment?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, hi, Gary. I find myself in a situation, we were talking about this at the weekend. We had a workshop with Jennifer Hadley on Saturday, and we were talking very much about when you're not willing, you've got to be willing to give up your grievances, your anger, your rage, your ego. You've got to be willing to do it. You have that choice, as you were talking about. But then what we were talking about is a place where I feel that I'm at, where I'm not willing to do that. I'm willing to be willing. I wish I was willing, but I'm not actually willing. And I'm really trying to get myself to the place where I am willing. And I'm just wondering if you had anything to say about that. Because what I was noticing in your meditation was actually I was finding it very, very difficult because I'm very, very entrenched in the political situation at the moment. And I've also got other stuff going on.
When we're upset, we're always upset for the reason we think. We justify our upset and our anger and all kinds of ways. We make up stories about how someone else has wronged us, and again, why we are justified or wronged.
But you're not quite there.
Sorry, are you still talking, Kirsty? Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
I think she needs to mute herself.
Oh, okay.
Having a conversation in the background.
Okay. So, ultimately, we hold grievances because we are afraid of love. We want to hold on to our sense of being a separate self. It's what keeps us. It keeps me as a separate entity if I've got a grievance, because then someone else is to blame for my upset. But I need to bring it back to myself always and take responsibility for it. And the reason that I feel resistance to doing that is because ultimately, yes, I want to remain separate, and I'm afraid of God. I'm afraid of love. I feel that I will be wiped away and swallowed up and assimilated into some kind of amorphous blob of light if I let go of my grievances. And it's completely unjustified, but that's the human condition. We are all afraid of love and all afraid of God. So when I feel those resistances come up, the best thing I can do is just be gentle with myself and just look at it and realize, okay, I'm in resistance here. I'm not willing to forgive. I'm not willing to let go of this grievance. And okay, that's okay for now, but ultimately it's not really going to be okay because I'm not happy while I have a grievance. So, I must just continue to ask for help with that because I want to be at peace. And I cannot be at peace if someone else is the cause of how I feel. and I'm just the effects. I have to recognize I am the cause. You know, it all emanates from me. I am a singular dreaming mind, and I'm not this separate thing that I have identified with. So, I don't know if that helps, Kirsty.
That's really helpful. Thank you, Gary. It's just reminding me of something that I actually have had an experience of. I've had a very, very visceral experience of this about 6 or 7 years ago in meditation. What you said about the fear of being absorbed into this amorphous blob of light. I didn't realise that that was my fear until I actually saw that fear. And then, of course, I've forgotten it. But that's actually what's going on deep down for me, obviously. So thank you. That's really helpful.
Are you? Would you like to share something?
Yes. Thank you very much, Gary. I'd like to mention my experience a couple of days ago. I was listening Ken Wapnick audio, and I'm aware of that. I have a horrible thought coming up, very nasty thought towards to something, some people. I'm aware of that. And he said, well, somebody in the audience asked a question, how can I change? And Ken said, no, trying to change is a worst thing to do. So like just Garry said, just to be aware of that, I'm afraid of the light. I don't want to go back to the home yet. And just being aware of that is saving 1,000 years. And that saved me a lot. Saved my, I felt relaxed, relief. And it is okay for now. I'm not ready. I still have a nasty thought, but that's okay. I'm afraid of the light. And then just be gentle, be kind to myself is probably very important things for me at the moment. So thank you very much for reinforce the idea again, Garry.
Thank you. And I mean, we can remember that he's always with us. So, I mean, he is asking us to look at the darkness and the illusions that we have made, but he's promised that he will be with us as we look. And ultimately, the Course in Miracles is, you know, it's him shining the spotlight at all of the darkness, all of the ego illusions, so that we can become aware of them. And it's through becoming aware of them that they are ultimately dispelled, because we see it for what it is. And it's like, I don't want this. This isn't bringing me happiness. But of course, you know, you do it at your own pace, and time does keep a gentle pace with us in our awakening.
Julie, do you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you. On the topic of lack of willingness, God has endless patience, and that I think all the time we're not at peace, or we're stuck in that non-willingness. We aren't anything. That's what Jesus has taught me. And that there's a part of my mind that's always at peace, like God only knows peace. So all the time I'm not at peace. I'm just nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah, well, fear doesn't exist, does it? When I'm in a state of fear, I'm not real. You know, I am that fear. I'm not real. Of course, it's not pleasant. It's upsetting, and that's ultimately why we have all looked for an alternative to the ego thought system and the misery and suffering of separation, because it's not really bearable. Ultimately, it's painful.
Nigel, would you like to have a question or comment? Take yourself off mute.
I just wanted to say, particularly about when we're in dispute and losing our peace. A Course in Miracles doesn't say that the dispute doesn't have to be sorted out and that we can simply walk away from every dispute. What it asks us to do is to resolve that dispute in love. There are many situations in life where we cannot leave something that's going on. For example, if we're witnessing a 12-year-old being beaten up by an adult, we can't walk away from it because the Course in Miracles says we've got to be at peace. That's not being at peace. It's seeing that both parties in that need our love and need our assistance in sorting it out. I think people get very confused when we talk about going into ourselves and looking at our emotions, which we should, and you have to release them to get to love. But it doesn't mean to say that errors out there don't have to be corrected.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can waste an awful lot of time on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this as a narcissistic teaching where it's just about me finding my own peace and, you know, the rest of the world doesn't matter. I think that's the wrong use of denial. But ultimately, until I've found my own peace, I can't be of help or of true service to anyone. I can't.
Yes, I agree.
You know, I can't take a true role in the atonement with Jesus as my guide until I've, you know, purified my own mind. He says purification is necessary first, and then I can be of service, and I will know exactly what to say and what to do in that situation that is, you know, where there are brothers in need of assistance or help.
I agree.
Thank you.
David, do you have a question or comment? Guess not. Anyone else?
I do. Well, I did. Yeah, it was a comment actually. It was a realization, but it's drifted away because I started feeling. I was picking up what people were saying and starting to feel about the jabs and about Terry's sister, and the wolf started howling again, and I equated the authority figures that I so fear with the God of fear. And I calmed it down by saying that I choose peace instead of this. Just in that moment, I can move away from it. We're doing a wonderful program that John put us onto called Insights, where we do a daily sort of meditation thing, and about just moving away from the thought, just observing it, just moving away from it. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful, all this stuff. And I so much appreciate everyone's input. I relate to it all. Thank you.
Okay, we've come to the top of our meditation gathering. Please take yourself off of mute and show your appreciation to Garry. Thank you, Garry.
Thank you, Garry.
Oh, that was brilliant. Thank you.
So fabulous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.